Oh, these carrots are divine. You get a dozen for a dime. It's magic. What up, people? Come in here and talk to the dribble. I got breaking news for y'all. If you're following me on Instagram, you already know about it. But we still got to discuss it. We still got to discuss it. We'll get Francis G. Art piece out the way. They went and got them Lucky Charms from Rainbow Head. I wonder how many of those Lucky Charms he's still in possession of. This is the second time he's been robbed. First time was, I think his name was Hard from 9 Trey. Gripped him up in the car. Top of the morning. Make sure y'all come in here and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Appreciate y'all coming through. Caught y'all off guard, didn't I? Didn't I? Didn't I? Didn't I? What up, what up, what up? Make sure you follow me on IG too. A lot of the news that I discuss on this platform, it might spark on Instagram. So make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at I am gullytv_. Not that many he got unless he got insurance on him. Let me see. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to get in here. Y'all share this live stream to y'all social media platforms. Twitter, Facebook. I see a comment below this TMZ article about this story we about to discuss. They says, all he does is talk crazy on the internet. I feel bad for his mother, but this is a message to him. You keep knocking on the devil's door, somebody's gonna answer. Pee Wee, I appreciate you. Let me see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 moderators in the chat. Okay. He's never gonna get the message. This is coming on the heels of him doing a string of interviews on Vlad TV. I believe Vlad put out a video saying that this was his most expensive interview. So whatever he gave 6ix9ine for all of those blog pieces that he put out, cost him a pretty penny. I'm pretty sure he recouped like it's nothing. 6ix9ine still got a huge fan base all over the world. Make sure y'all subscribe, man. Oh man, let me can't have that. All right, this is from TMZ. Tekashi 6ix9ine mom held against her will after home invaded by gunmen. This is published, of course, today. At 5 in the morning, they posted this, November 17th. Tekashi 6ix9ine's Florida home was stormed by 4 gunmen hunting for his cash and car keys and held his mother against her will during the terrifying home invasion. The chilling incident went down Sunday night when the embattled rapper's 60-year-old mother was at his residence and suddenly she was confronted by armed gunmen. 6ix9ine tell us that he was not home at the time. Instead, he was live streaming with Jack Doherty when the home invasion played out. You'll recall Doherty was also arrested Saturday morning on drug possession and other charges. A lot going on around him. The Palm Beach Sheriff's Office tells TMZ they were dispatched to the rapper's home for a home invasion robbery in progress. I wonder how she was able to place that call. Maybe he got some type of security at his crib that, reports any breach to the authorities. When they arrived, deputies made contact with several individuals inside the residence who reported that 4 armed masked gunmen entered the home with handguns. Police said Tekashi's mother was physically held outside while the remaining suspects ran inside and ransacked the property, demanding cash and car keys. The cops searched Tekashi's home with a K-9 unit, but could not find the suspects, who possibly drove off in a vehicle before the deputies arrived. This story is still developing. Pretty sure they're gonna have a lot of more details later in the day. This might not even be true, knowing Daniel Hernandez. He loves the attention, but apparently whoever did it, they got away and they was masked. So we'll see what happens after this. Seems like since he got out of jail, he has had misfortune after misfortune after misfortune. If y'all can think back to when he was on top, he talked big shit. he talked big shit like he was untouchable. This happened after Vlad dropped that interview with a full walkthrough at his crib. I don't know if that was the same spot or not, but I'm willing to say that video gave niggas the idea. That's crazy. That's crazy. One thing about that show MTV Cribs that was on back in the day, we should have known that those wasn't them guys' houses, because nobody is gonna invite you into their home and give you a tour of their home. Like, they even would tell you the location. Oh, this is Red Man's house in the north side of Elizabeth, New Jersey, or whatever the case. They would, give you coordinates to where these people allegedly stayed. That should have been a clue to us that that wasn't true. You ain't gonna get nothing good. Nothing good is gonna happen of you showing people, the general public, your riches, what you got and shit like that, your home, how to access your home and shit. It's probably gonna end bad, especially if they feel you got some real money there. You reap what you sow. That's facts. That's facts. Yeah. Hold on. He lives in a gated. Hold on. He lives in a gated community that has security at the gate that checks. How you know that? How you know that? I know some people be really following along and taking note of things that happen with their favorite celebrities and shit, but how you know he stay in a gated community? And if that's true, this don't sound like no gated community out there. I don't think that they be just letting anybody pass the gate without screening them and shit like that. And if it was a gated community, it's a gate coming in, which you probably would be filmed coming in, and it's a gate going out, which you probably would be filmed going out. So I doubt if that was the case. The cops showed footage of a robbery before. Once you get it, stay tight. He just invited one of them streamers into his house. That's another thing that you got to be aware of when you well off, or people feel that you well off. You got to be mindful of who you tell where you at. Girls could be a risk. That could be very risky. You seen the situation that happened with AZ, that guy who engineered that robbery with AZ and shot him in the head and killed all those people. That was his sister's boyfriend. So the information could come from the inside. You got to be careful on what you allow people to see and know about you. You never know who's lurking. You just got to be mindful of that. He be doing too much shit on the internet. Inside jobs. Normally a robbery is an inside job. He probably can pinpoint where he made his error at. Telling him where your mom at, that's never been a good thing. That's never been a good idea. And allegedly, according to this, they probably don't have, the same security detail that he had when he had all that money. He's had tax trouble and shit like that. Ain't no telling what type of money that he really has now. Rise and grind. Make sure that y'all subscribe. So yeah, this just happened at 5 this morning. Well, it was reported at 5 this morning. It happened Sunday night. And they do got video footage of him with this streamer, Jack Doherty. So they probably can pinpoint that 6ix9ine, in fact, wasn't there when it happened, because I'm looking at the footage. This is coming from TMZ. If y'all got a desktop in front of you, you can go to TMZ and they show you the pictures. And now everybody know that his mom's in Palm Beach, Palm Beach, Florida. More information leaked. Jay-Z once said on The Streets Is Watching, once you tag lame, name of the game is follow the leader. Everybody wants a piece of your Skrilla, so you got to keep it realer. He gonna have some more shit happen with him after this. Like, he's probably a world famous lick at this point. He a little dude, talk a lot of shit. No matter what he says, people are gonna assume that he got money of some type based on them couple of years that he was on top. He was stunting fantastic. So somebody, you see, they asked for car keys. Wonder what the fuck they thought they was gonna do with a car. There had to be some young niggas. He just signed a new deal. I heard part of his new deal is he has to stream. He might make more money streaming than anything else. That could be true. The government took that jewelry, cars, and the house, but dude has a lot of turmoil around him. Dudes acted like cops and waited until he came out the community and tried to pull him over and kidnap him. He by himself. Everybody know he by himself. Everybody watched that whole thing unfold with 9 Trey. He gets on one thing about him, when he started to show his true colors, he showed how vulnerable he really was. Like when he once he told, and then he started to do the interviews and shit like that. They fucked his girl, they robbed him. He got all of the characteristics of a sweet lick. Like they just rampaged him. So he's probably not safe, and anybody around him probably not safe based on the perception that he put out to the general public. They got Mom Dukes and his cash. They didn't say whether anything was taken. They just said that they ransacked, demanding cash and car keys. I don't know how much money they expected her to have in her home. Them is expecting somebody to have some money in a home, large sum of money. I'm not saying it can't happen, because people do keep cash in their house, but niggas that do home invasions and shit like that, this is probably not their first time doing it. And they be approaching this shit like this is a drug robbery. And a drug spot is probably going to be a large sum of cash there. Somebody that like 6ix9ine, I'm pretty sure most of his funds is generated digitally and, put away in financial institutions and held on apps and shit like that. So I don't know what type of money they thought that they was going to get up out of there. And they wanted car keys. That puzzled the fuck out of me. Same thing happened to Sean Taylor here in Miami, letting people into your home, then later they come rob you. Unfortunately for Sean Taylor, he was convicted felon, so he didn't have any fire. I never heard that put that way and shit. I didn't know Sean Taylor had a criminal record. He told because of what happened at the gym would have happened in prison, maybe something worse. Common got a song about that. He been having streamers in his crib. He violated parole a few times. He should be in jail. Checked in PC somewhere. Probably ain't safe to let them streamers in his crib. He probably, yeah. Nobody's gonna have no loyalty to him. He's a money bag opportunity to everybody. I just don't see nobody coming around him with any sincere intentions. I don't. So it could have been the streamers. One thing for sure, two things for certain. He know what error he made. He know who did what, and he probably gonna have to move his mom. She probably terrified now. Gonna have to put her someplace else and keep that shit low. Sean Taylor only had a machete because of the prior charge he had. That's crazy that he wasn't able to protect himself. Died from a leg shot. Another NFL player was shot over the weekend, a cornerback. I can't remember his name. He got shot in Manhattan, got shot in the stomach. And the guy that did it, they got his face on video. It's all over Instagram. My nigga, run! They coming for you. They got your face, man. He said it was a Jets player. Okay. Yeah, that was crazy. Out late night. Nothing good really happens at clubs, man. I came to that conclusion some years ago. I did. That I believe the club thing, that's for when you young and really don't care about your safety and shit like that. You might be desensitized to it. You in such pursuit of trying to get next to a broad or something like that that you don't consider that going to a club, you're in a room full of strangers, drinking alcohol and some are taking drugs. That sounds like detriment. That does. That sounds like detriment. Something can go wrong and it more than likely will. So the club thing probably ain't, if it ain't a private party with family and friends, being out in the general public like that, kind of risky. He said, yep, alcohol and haters. Yeah, that's a dangerous combination. One of those chicks that was there during the stream, I don't put that past anybody. Parties do get crazy. I'm turned off about the club scene. I had my chance of experiencing the club thing when it was at its peak. I was in 112. All of them clubs that um, Jermaine Dupri was rapping about, Ludacris was rapping about in that song "Welcome to Atlanta," Kaya, Atrium, 112. I was in all of them joints. That was during my college years. It was fun as a motherfucker, but back then people was still on the dance floor dancing and shit. People was coming to the club with intentions of fucking something. This era, they come to the club with Robbie on their mind. they come to the club with robbery on their mind. Niggas looking for licks and chicks looking for licks. So it's bad. I don't go to the clubs no more. We live in times of desperation and finessing. Alcohol and women, it could get ugly. Sean wasn't a convicted felon. I just know he didn't have a weapon to stop the intruders. I sincerely apologize to Sean Taylor and his whole University of Miami family. So you put that on Sean. I'm saying to myself, damn, I didn't know he was a felon. The clubs are nasty. What cities is up in here? It's almost 600 people here. Good afternoon to every one of y'all. Appreciate y'all coming through. 6ix9ine's mom has been held up in a home invasion. I know that nigga spooked. Probably already moving her. The moving van should be out front. Miami, Pittsburgh, Detroit, UK, Boston. What up? Beantown. Buffalo, upstate. What up? Asbury Park, 814 Erie. Tone, what's up? Time for you to re-up on the knittage. This is going out. Somebody bought this. Knittage is still around. You know the website. Plainfield, Sacramento, Connecticut, Brooklyn, East New York, Flint, Michigan, South Jamaica, Queens, Hampton, Virginia, Stockton, Providence, Brooklyn. I appreciate all y'all for coming through. Homeboy from Hampton. I'm reading Allen Iverson's book right now. I'm learning a lot about Hampton and Newport News. It was ugly down there when he was coming up. It was rough. I'm almost done with the book. It's a very good read. I told y'all that y'all probably should check that out. It's called Misunderstood. He said, damn, somebody purchased the joint I had my eye on. Don't hesitate, man. They be flying up out of here. They do. I played with him all my life. He went through a lot. I didn't think that his life was so similar to mine when he was going through like high school and shit like that. But if you was from a certain environment at a certain age during the crack era, you probably had a similar experience no matter where you was from. It's a good book, though. Chris Boyd from the Jets got shot. Oh, I announced this last night on Instagram. I don't know if y'all seen it yet. Eddie Murphy has a new documentary on Netflix. It's must-see TV. It's funny as a motherfucker. It is. It's hilarious. I didn't know that he didn't just appear in Harlem Nights. He directed that shit. I didn't know that. Like, he was telling Red Fox and Della Reese and them what jokes to say and everything. Bad boy. And he's in very, very good shape. He said he never drank, smoked, didn't get off into that wild shit. And it shows on him. He looked real good. And I know he probably in his 60s. Eddie on a promo run, he took care of a lot of people. It seemed like this documentary was pushing the narrative of, at some point, especially when Arsenio Hall was on there, Eddie Murphy might do stand-up again, a stand-up tour. I was thinking about that. I'm like, if he did a tour, a comedy tour, like, he hasn't done this shit since like the 80s or some shit like that. Once Hollywood got a hold of him, he never did it anymore. But, you know, Delirious and all of that type of shit that he was doing back in the day, if he do a tour like that again, that's sold out all over the country. It's going to be pandemonium. He said that he'd be writing shit down, writing little jokes and skits and shit down in case he get in the mind frame of doing it again. It seems like it's going to happen, though. Yeah. Raw was his last one. If you, the way that, if you look at it, he is, he's one of the last of the mega superstars from the 80s. When they spoke of him, They was talking about him, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Prince. They kicked down doors. They did things that nobody had done in pop culture before them. Like, I didn't even know that Eddie Murphy was like, I think Eddie Murphy was the first nigga on Saturday Night Live. I didn't know that. He came right after John Belushi and all of them. The next season, he was a teenager. He was a teenager. Yeah. I didn't know that. I was young. 1980 was the first year that he was on Saturday Night Live, 80 or 81. I was a little kid. I was like 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old or some shit like that. I didn't know that, though. 19. Super dope documentary. Y'all should watch that today. It don't be a lot of shit on TV to watch. Nothing is worth watching. This Eddie Murphy joint, I highly recommend it. Garrett Morris was the first black comedian on Saturday Night Live. Okay, Garrett Morris. Got it. Make sure that y'all follow me on Instagram, man, so y'all can peep these discussions before they make it to this live stream. Breaking news, though. Tekashi 6ix9ine crib got ran up in Florida. Probably gonna hear about this all day. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen after this, whether he will make a public statement of any type. I don't know. A lot of shit ain't private anymore. People just share everything with the general public. Eddie was the youngest. I didn't know that Charlie Murphy was the older brother. For some reason, I thought that Eddie was the older brother. Charlie Murphy was the older brother. And Charlie Murphy was funny as a motherfucker. Eddie said he missed him so much. He said, I miss my brother and shit. When Charlie Murphy came home from the military, he was in the army and some shit like that. Eddie Murphy had became a star. He appointed him the head of his security. They asked Charlie Murphy, they said, yo, did you have any security experience or any background on security details? He said, hell nah. All I knew was, wasn't nobody gonna fuck with my little brother. He said, that's all I knew. Wasn't nobody gonna be fucking with my brother and shit like that. I cracked up. That shit it's hilarious. Y'all gotta go check it out. Charlie do karate too. You could tell that they was close. Yeah, real close. I didn't know Eddie Murphy was from Long Island either. I knew that he's from New York. I didn't know he's from Long Island. You don't hear that. When people talking about the great talents that came from Long Island, you hear about Rakim and EPMD and Chuck D, and you hear about mostly rappers. I didn't know that Eddie Murphy was from Long Island. I didn't. Pee Wee, I appreciate you being here working your ass off. I like the way you handled that situation a while back with dude, no names needed. He had you mixed up. I believe a lot of people that get on this internet got me fucked up. Eddie got them hands too. They showed him on the speed bag. They asked Richard Pryor something about it. This happened in the 80s. They asked Richard Pryor. They said, "What do you think about people saying that the Eddie Murphy is the next Richard Pryor?" He said, "I don't like that shit." He said, "I don't like that shit." What I love about this documentary though is that Eddie totally gave props, and he said that Richard Pryor was just everything to him, and that's true. If you old enough to remember Richard Pryor comedy, I don't think no black comedian ever came along that was as funny as Richard Pryor. But Eddie said that, you know, he was trying to step in those shoes, and Dave Chappelle said that Eddie Murphy was his Michael Jordan poster. He said Eddie Murphy was the Michael Jordan poster on my wall. He said I just wanted to be him in so many. Shh. Y'all got to see it. I ain't gonna blow it for y'all, man. But I could talk about that documentary forever. I actually watched it 2 times. I had to pull it back and watch that shit again. He said Red Fox. Red Fox wasn't as funny as Rich. You had lived through it, man. Richard Pryor was slapstick comedy, man. I ain't just talking about on stage. I'm talking about in his movies. Like, you got to go watch, like, Bustin' Loose and Which Way Is Up and shit like that. Eddie Murphy got that. The Clumps, Nutty Professor, when he played all of those characters and shit, he got that from Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor did that in Bustin' Loose. Richard Pryor was doing that shit in, like, the 70s and shit like that. It's dope. You got to watch it, though. For real. He said, I'm going to watch it tomorrow. Eddie was born in Brooklyn, raised in Long Island. Charlie was in his late teens when they moved to Long Island. Okay. Gully, would you say Richard Pryor was the first black comic to cross over? Probably so. And I say that because Richard Pryor was in a Superman movie. It don't get no bigger than that. I think he was in Superman 3. It don't get no bigger than that. I don't think nobody, no comedian surpassed that as far as movies. They didn't think that Beverly Hills Cop was going to be a hit movie. And that shit did like $25 million in his first week or some shit like that. But you can't really compare the rest of them to Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was on a whole nother level. That motherfucker was funny as a motherfucker, for real. Rich was very successful. Plus in the Mac, the only role he didn't play a funny role, they said he was high as a motherfucker. And Rich was high as a motherfucker in the Mac. Said they kept having to shoot over and over. As a 6-year-old kid, I would flick the channels not knowing who Richard Pryor was. Fast forward that, now I get it. I just wanted to get on here and announce this situation with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Before I get out of here, I want to tell y'all just one more piece of this documentary that was funny as a motherfucker. It's a white boy on this documentary. He said he was a little boy. He said his dad died in the September 11th tragedy. He said he was depressed and, you know, kind of fucked up, going through some things. His mother took him to a mall where they had a video store that sold DVDs and CDs. That probably could have been like Sam Goody or FYE or something like that. He said he went to get himself a DVD. Didn't know who Eddie Murphy was. He a little kid. He said he picked up Delirious and he looking at Eddie Murphy on the front of it. Eddie Murphy got on a red leather suit. He said, I just looked at the cover and I was like, damn, he looks cool. I want this. His mother don't know who he is either, right? He said they had one of them Tahoes that had the DVD players that flip down in the back seat. He said they got in the car. He opened up the DVD and he put it in. He said his mom was driving down the street. He said, as soon as I put it in, that's all I heard was, fuck, bitch, suck my dick, fuck you. He said his mother looked over her shoulder like, man, what the fuck is you watching? Oh, what the fuck is you watching? And she, went back and grabbed it, looked at it and shit, and was like, she noticed it made her son happy. It made him happy. His dad just died. She told him, all right, I tell you what. You can watch this. I'm going to let you keep this. But you can't tell nobody, and you can't be reciting this shit in public. Like, don't be going to school cussing and shit like that. That shit was funny as a mother. You gotta hear the white boy tell the story, though. I'm up out of here, man. I just had to get on here briefly and tell y'all about the situation with Tekashi 69. You get out of this world the type of energy that you put into it. 6ix9ine was the same motherfucker that was putting money on niggas' heads, putting hits on people and shit like that. So the energy that he put out into the world, he getting it back. And that's what you see in this instance. I'm out of here. I got things to do. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get the notifications of whenever I'm on my live stream. Go watch that Eddie Murphy documentary. You won't be disappointed. Peace.